What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have for you all the drop rates and the mercy system. Is there one for primal shards? Let me know. Is it as much as, more than, or less than you were expecting? It is 0.5% chance to get a mythical champion. This is less than I was expecting for sure. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was thinking a decent percentage. However, they're smart. Of course, players are smart. They're doing this so they can leave room for a sacred primal shard equivalent in the future, where maybe it's a 6% chance to get mythical, maybe a 10% or maybe a 20% chance to get a legendary, and then a 70% chance to get an epic champion or something like that. So obviously, perfect position for that, but 0.5% chance to get a mythical. That's the same chance as you have to get a legendary from Ancients or Voids just any day during the week. So you pull an Ancient or Void, you get a legendary. Well, if you pulled a primal shard, that could have been a mythical champion. So as far as the legendary drop rate, it's pretty good at 1%. Now they mentioned that there was no mythical Void legendary champions yet, which leads me to believe there eventually will be, which also would lead me to believe they're either going to do one or two things: add Void primal shards, which would make the game, oh my goodness, so many shards, or they're going to throw Void champions into the primal shard pool, which could be cool. However, it just expands the pool. I don't really know if it's the best way to do it, but either way, as far as the mercy system goes, let's go ahead and check that out because this is super important. So ancients, voids, all that kind of stuff, sacreds, but primal shards. So primal, after 75 summons without a legendary, it's going to be plus 1%. So you're going to have a 1% right now. You're going to have 99. So 75 plus 175 basically. So basically like a guaranteed champion event is what you're going to have to get this done. Now, as far as, actually, let's think about this. They typically, let's say about $300. 300 divided by 175. What is that? 171. Okay, I was gonna say that's how much each shard's gonna cost. That's not how much each shard's gonna cost. I was thinking that usually during summon events they have like $300 worth of shards to get a guaranteed champion, whatever one you're doing, but that's not actually accurate. So either way, moving on from that, for mythical champions, you have after 200 summons without a mythical, a plus 1% chance per shard pulled. So it's gonna take you a lot of shards. It's gonna take you a ton of shards actually, because after that you're gonna have to still go up from 0.5%. So is it 300? Is that right? 300 shards? I'm pretty sure that's correct. 300 of these shards before a legendary. Wow. Now this is, like I said, this is all test server stuff, so this could change once it comes out. Now let's talk about the primal quartz. So if you missed this raid digest a few days ago, they say the new shard type will become available, the primal shard, which can summon rare, mythical champions, all of affinities, and primal shards will, actually it says, let's see, any affinities except void from this shard. Cool. Void mythical champions will not be available in raid when this goes live. So I don't know. When that changes, we'll be sure to update you all beforehand. So it is possible to change. Now they say primal shards will be featured among the rewards of various in-game events. You'll be able to form primal shards with 100 primal quartz, which can be obtainable in Hydra Clash chests, as well as some other events. So this feature right here, I'm not a huge fan of overcomplicating things, like the whole prism crystal thing, where originally it was 20 crystals and then it was 80 crystals to do one pull. Players bought a lot of stuff not paying attention, and they realized, oh, I thought I had a lot more pulls than I actually did. With this situation, I think it's actually for the best, because now, unlike void shards, where they're not going to throw them in events very often, they could throw primal quartz into events. They could give them in Hydra chest fairly often, and they're not out as much money in Player M's eyes. It's more stuff we can earn, and eventually you can build up to an actual shard, depending on, of course, on how many quartz there actually are in events. So ultimately, this could be a pretty good system. It could be the best way to allow it to be achievable for a lot of players, because let's be honest, having primal shards drop in events all the time is going to be very, very unlikely. They're going to probably do a few, especially on the release, but after that, it's probably not going to be a ton. Now, as far as how expensive the shards are going to be, I'm definitely interested in finding that out, but looking through these mythical champions, there's something else that struck my attention and came to my mind. Check out the Faction Guardians. Well, there are no mythical champions in Faction Guardians, and even if there were, you're probably not going to fill out Faction Guardians for mythical champions for a very, very long time. With that said, they mentioned before that mythical champions have a higher base stat, or higher base stats, than legendary counterparts. Now, when you look at these champions, 22k HP, like nothing here stands out and says, wow, this champion's way higher base stats, because check this compared to Siphi. Well, Siphi does have less, Definitely does. However, Sify also has bonuses from my Faction Guardians. So players who are going to be getting these champions probably also have their Faction Guardians complete. So Sify's extra 2,000 HP, extra 129 defense, and when you switch over to this champion, yeah, she has more of everything, but is it that much more? I don't think so. Now, the champions kits, they're cool. The champion metamorphosis, they're cool. Future mythical champions could be awesome. If I pull one, I'm definitely going to build it. I'm going to try to use it. But so far, it seems like the sentiment has been the champions are cool, the kits are interesting, but the champion themselves don't really seem to work as people hoped them to. Which, then again, that's a careful line you have to tread, basically, is do you want the champions to be OP? They're hard to get. Do you want to be super strong, super powerful? Or do you want to pull a mythical champion who's basically the same thing as a legendary? It's a difficult thing to go. I mean, because the power creep would go so high if they were way overpowered. I don't think it should be way overpowered. But I do think that if you pull one of these champions, especially if they're going to be rare and hard to get, you want it to be a champion who's, going to make a big impact on your account. You want to be excited for these champions, especially because at this point of the game, there are so many legendary champions that you pull and you're just not excited for. It would be a bummer to pull a mythical champion and not be excited for them. Other than their looks. Their looks look amazing. Like the way they look, the aesthetics, Raid always kills them that stuff, but their looks look fantastic. As far as the actual champion skills and stuff, though, they seem to be a little bit underwhelming. I'm going to do some more testing, actually do my testing, because I haven't done anything on these champions yet, just been seeing what everyone else is saying. But once I do my testing, I'll let you guys know what I'm finding, what I'm seeing. But honestly, I'm not that worried because I'm probably not going to pull any of these champions, though their auras do seem pretty good. 35% HP in all battles, 35% attack in all battles, 20% speed in all battles, 27 crit rate in all battles, and then I already did the HP one. Actually, no, 35% again HP in all battles. So they seem good, but they're not the most. Like, I'm pretty sure there's other champions with 24% speed in all battles, and the HP one as well. I mean, they're a little bit higher than the legendary auras, it seems, for all battles, but ultimately 24% crit rate. So yeah, they are a little bit higher than most of the legendary champions that I know of. That's cool. I do like a slight boost, but I feel like without Faction Guardians, I don't know if they're going to add them. They probably will. Hopefully they do. You can empower them as far as I'm aware. So you're going to be able to get those stat boosts, which if you're going to empower them, I don't know. Because if you're going to fill out Faction Guardians, you got to do that for a long time anyways. I do think, though, that without Faction Guardians, that they could have a little bit higher base stats and be fine, considering a lot of players are going to have their Faction Guardians filled out, the ones who are really going to be going for these champions. And if you're not going for them, you're going to love to have a champion with even higher base stats, because the assumption that, hey, everyone else has Faction Guardians, just something to keep in mind. Something that I considered yesterday. I was like, wait, there's no Faction Guardians for these champions. So even if the base stats are a little bit higher, they really don't pass the legendary or the other champions very much. Granted, their base stats do scale off the base HP, like the percentage HP stuff, whereas these champions, the 50%, 60% HP boost from your chest plate isn't scaling off of the Faction Guardian benefit, the Faction Guardian boost. So ultimately, the mythical champion should come out still a little bit ahead, but just something to be mindful that their stats don't seem to be significantly higher. Which, to be honest, that may be the best thing to do and may be the right way to do it in the end. The main thing I want to say is that the drop rates for these champions so far seem to be very low. Really don't know how impactful it's going to be, because if they're pretty achievable, like if you can get a couple per week relatively easily, maybe if they're decently priced, which I got a feeling they probably won't be, $5 to $10 per shard may not be too out of the something that's reasonable, out of the imagination. I'm hoping it's not above $10 per shard. That would be pretty crazy, because then you're looking at $3,000 for a guaranteed Primal's champion, which is actually really crazy. $3,000 for a legendary, or for a mythical, $3,000, right? $200, if they're $10 a piece, that would be a lot. So there we go. Let me know what you guys think. Definitely interested in hearing your thoughts and opinions. Primal Quartz, I do like this system, though I don't like having a bunch of different resources throughout the game. It overcomplicates things, it dilutes everything, and it makes things more complicated. However, with this situation, it does make sense, because I do want to earn them, I do want to get them, and I think this is the best way for free-to-plays and low spinners to actually achieve getting some of these Primal Quartz, and you're going to need a lot of them. So guys, with that said, Thank you all very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next video.